welcome back to Living with a Classic. And it's been a year since this car joined the fleet. It's my wife's 2006 Supercharged Range Rover, which she absolutely loves it. And I have to say, I've quite fallen for this car as well. It is a fantastic car. Lovely to drive, lots of power, very quiet, on the highway and smooth. However, if you put your foot down, it does make quite a lovely growl. This 4.2 liter supercharged Jag V8. When I bought it, it was the cheapest Range Rover in the country. I live in Sweden. We paid, I'm trying to remember exactly, but converted to dollars, so we're talking about like $3,700 to $4,000, something thereabouts, for this car. I mean, sub $4,000, which, I mean, that is just fantastic. It did have MOT. It was on the road. I mean, it had, massive pothole. It had tires that were bad and lots of other things. It was making a lot of noise up front from all the idlers. Alright, it does have a little bit of a belt squeal or some idler squeal up front now when it's cold. But other than that, it seems to be running well, even though it's been sitting for about a year. And the belts and everything, it was shifting kind of rough. I'm trying to remember what else was going on with it. And one of the brakes was dragging in the back. So I made a video series fixing all that here on the channel. It took quite a bit of a while just because I had issues getting all the parts, and that was just, sort of when Brexit was going on and we had COVID and lockdowns and things. So getting parts wasn't that easy. Once I got them, it was pretty straightforward. And I just looked through all the receipts again. It was about $970 or so to fix this thing back on the road. That was a transmission service as well included in that, which was all it needed. It was way low on fluid. They had just filled it, but they hadn't warmed up the engine and then filled it even more. So it was about 3 liters low on fluid. So after we filled that, the transmission has been great. And it's been exactly a year. Well, in one day it's been a year since we picked this car up. And the weather was just like this, with some snow and first sort of feel of winter. And we had a look at this thing. It was sitting in a town about an hour and a half away from where we live, sitting outside. It wasn't looking very happy. All the wheels were curved. It was a mess. But underneath, I thought, you know what? This is a pretty good Range Rover, because every electrical item worked in it, and I was just shocked. And even though it was making all those weird sounds, the brakes were dragging on, and we drove it home very, very slowly. My wife was very excited to get this home. Oh yeah, it needed an alignment. So I'm trying to remember everything. It really needed an alignment badly. So the other expenses we had were new wheels and tires, both for summer and winter tires. I live in Sweden, you need winter tires. So the winter tires were about $1,000 and a little bit less for the summer tires. So all in all, let's see, I'm gonna do math here. So let's say if we saved up $900 for that with all the parts and the summer tires, we'll say that is $2,000 together. They're about, and the winter tires, that's $2,000 together. Then we'll add the summer tires, that is another $800 or so. So let's say $2,800, and then we'll also add, of course, the purchase price of the car. We'll count a little bit high, so we'll say $4,000. So we're saying for about $6,800, we have driven this car for 1 year, and it's definitely worth that. If I'd sell it now, I think it'd even be worth a little bit more than that, even though it is a little bit, on the high mileage side, but has very good service history, and it is sorted. Everything works. At the moment, it's showing 301,000 kilometers, which, not that bad, actually. I think if it's a 2006 car and it's been used as a daily now for a year. So what's it been like during this year? Well, my wife has been using it to both commute to work, and now she is home with our youngest son. So, she's basically a stay-at-home mom now on maternity leave, but she still does drive our daughter, who's a little bit older, to daycare. So it's used on a daily basis, and honestly, it has not let her down even once. The only thing that happened with it once was she got a flat tire, but that can happen in any car. And luckily, she was at her destination when she noticed it was there was a hissing sound coming from the tires, so she didn't have to change it on the side of the road. And I jumped in a spare car and went and helped her change it because they're quite heavy tires on this car. But she absolutely loves it. The only thing, if you can have one complaint about this car, well, sort of two complaints. One is rear visibility is actually not the greatest, and I know it should have a reverse camera. That's the only electric thing that doesn't work on this car. I will have a look at that. So sometimes backing up, it's hard to see how big this car is, but you just get used to the size of it after a while. But the other thing, of course, is fuel consumption. And honestly, it's a bit better than I thought it would be. But yeah, let's not kid ourselves. This is quite a thirsty beast. I'm going to say these in liters per 100 kilometers, and then I'll convert them for you guys in the text there. But the best I've had it was when I drove back and forth to Stockholm. For that whole trip, I got 10.1 liters per 100 kilometers, which I think is absolutely amazing. On average, it does about 15.5 with all the small trips and stuff, just going 15 minutes down into our local town and area and back up. So pretty much the most fuel inefficient car we have. I mean, it's even worse than my big V12 Jags, but I honestly do think it's worth it. I'm gonna just let you hear the engine a bit up this hill. I do hope the camera is picking this up. Lovely V8 sound. I mean, this is just 2,500 RPMs, but it pulls so strong, this engine. It just makes such a lovely sound, this thing. And then once you're out, on the highway, and it just goes down into low RPM, even though this is not high, this is about 2,000, a little bit more RPMs, it is just quiet and smooth then, which is really the nice thing. Other nice thing as well is I live on top of a mountain. As you may know, we're going up the back side of the mountain now, and we do get quite a bit of ice and snow and things, so it is nice with a big four-wheel drive car, especially now that we have another family member. We have my son as well, so we have two kids, and it's a nice roomy car for that. We also have a big dog, which has a cage and half the space in the back, big German Shepherd. So it is really a great family car. But you know what, we're gonna go back over into the woods a little bit. We'll pull over somewhere and I'll have a brief look at the car on the outside to sort of show what it looks like. On most days, it's not the cleanest car ever. This thing, like I say, it does quite a bit of miles. It goes on back roads and dirty roads and everything, and it often does look a bit dirty, but I think that one of these Range Rovers kind of looks in its element when it actually isn't super clean. I mean, it can be clean and nice on the inside, but a little bit of mud on the outside actually just looks really good on the Range Rover. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of view of the road here. This is a place pretty much behind my property that I'm really never film out here because this is pretty much the only car that goes on this road. It's a shortcut, actually. You can take this logging road behind our house if you want to go on the other side of the mountain. It saves about 10 minutes of driving, but it's beautiful out here. It is a nature reserve, so sometimes you see some people out here walking on the weekend. There's a spot further ahead where you can park up your car and go for little trail walks. As you see, when we were down below the mountain, it was basically no snow, and then once you get up here, it is a couple degrees colder, and we do get snow. I mean, this is not really snow right now, but it's the first bit of snow we've gotten, and I think in a couple weeks we'll have real snow, sort of like we had last year. Just pulled over here, started snowing a little bit more again, but I just want to show you guys the outside of the car if you're not familiar with it, and it's in its right elements right now, at least in my opinion. Out in nature. Beautiful surroundings over here. A little bit muddy, a little bit snowy, looking good. So those are the chunky winter tires we have on it, which are really needed up here on these aftermarket rims, which I think look very nice on it. And then it has a set of Range Rover normal summer tire wheels, which are very nice as well. Otherwise, the car is in, like I seen before, it is in good shape. Still has some cosmetic things to do on it, but we did say that my wife and I, if it survives a year without any major issues, you know, we will deal with the cosmetic things. Sitting here on the back hatch, grabbed a little bit of shelter from the snow. Forgot to bring a hat, it's very cold. But like I said, the plans for this car now. So it has survived a year. My wife absolutely loves it. So this is staying on the channel, and I'm putting away a little bit of money to fix some of the cosmetic issues on it in the summer. Because during the summer we'll have more cars out we can use, then she can drive the Daimler or something for a while. And we'll take this thing to my body shop man. He can do the rear arches on both side sills. We've been inside, look, they're in good shape. We'll just do a little bit of rust proofing in there, and do something about the dent on one of the sides, and possibly paint the front and the rear bumpers because they're a little bit scratched. I think the previous person that had this car was not the greatest at parking, because I can tell that the right side of the car has been painted at one point. It's done very nicely, but then it's been dented again. So I don't think the person was the greatest at either driving or parking. But as you can see back here, we have a like a dog cage is bolted down, so that's where the dog sits right now. It's full of some wood I'm bringing home to do some things with. But it's getting a little bit too cold now, so let's wrap this thing up. If you do want one of these cars, they are a bit of a labor of love. I think it's a great thing if you can work on it yourself. That's excellent. I've done everything to this car except transmission service, but that's just because I have a friend who has a shop, and he helped me do it, and I don't have a lift, and it was negative 13 degrees Celsius, and I did not feel like laying on my back on the ground. But if it was summer, I would have probably done it myself at home. So everything is pretty straightforward. The engine, especially the supercharged one, is a lovely thing, and the normal 4.4 Jag V8 is very nice as well. And that's why I say, if you want one of these cars, definitely pick it up. I think the 4.2 Supercharged is an excellent one. And yeah, let me know if you have any experience with Range Rovers in the comments down below, if your ownership has been as good as it's been with this one. I know some people have some issues, but I think if you find a good car where everything seems to work and it drives well, I think you can't go wrong with an old Range Rover like this one. Anyways, if you like this video, please give a thumbs up, share it with friends. And as you can see, I'm wearing a Living with Classic hoodie. There is a link down below to a store with some hoodies, some shirts, some different things. So if you want to pick up a Christmas present, maybe for yourself or for someone else, or, you know, send that link over to your family, ask them what you want for Christmas, you know. Some Living with Classic merch is really good Christmas present. So go in there and order, and you should get everything before Christmas. So until next time, I'm Adam. This was Living with a Classic. I'll see you soon.